Hi, everyone. Welcome to Watchbots Prime, the midweek show that is thankfully no longer solely about reality television, just a little bit, and I think that's a good step. This is Ben. I'm happy to report that not watching the new Bachelor show was as easy as walking into the ocean is going to be when my time comes. Didn't think about watching it, didn't miss it, didn't crave it, and as somebody with a addictive personality, I'm pretty proud of myself for that. Give myself a little pat on the back. But I don't want to let the moment slide and avoid giving you this little sip of tea, as it were, from the Bachelor series. So as you recall, when we left Hannah and Tyler, they were going to get a drink, and the internet flipped their minds and their shit and their minds. And they were like, oh, it's going to happen. They're going to get married. So they get a drink. And then the paparazzi catch Tyler leaving Hannah's house early in the morning. So it could have been the walk of shame. Who knows? And everybody's losing it. It's a happy ending, I guess. But then Tyler was seen on a date with a supermodel like 2 days later. And now the internet, who was so pro Tyler, and he's a good guy and he's a feminist and he respects women, they just hated this guy. And it's an ongoing saga. You know, Bachelor Nation never sleeps, and I appreciate that. But I am retiring either until more juicy news comes up or until the new season of The Bachelor. So more to come there. Shaylin and I did watch Avengers Endgame now that it's out for digital rental, and it still holds up. Doesn't need to be 3 hours by any means. It's super bloated. There are some minor things that come up, as you would expect from a time travel movie, but I still love it as a love letter to the rest of those movies. You know, you get rewarded for having sat through the bullshit that was Thor: The Dark World and all those little Easter eggs. So it's worth watching, which is, I don't know. Is that an endorsement? Like, go see the Avengers movie? But here it is. But it did get me back into reading comics a little bit. And because I have this thing where I need to start things at the beginning, I had been on and off for years reading Marvel Comics right from when their continuity started. So with Fantastic Four #1, which was in 1962, 1963, I don't know, but I do it through the Marvel Unlimited app, which has more or less their entire history. It's really cool. I'm somewhere in 1967. It's mostly not good, but I can't skip ahead like 10 years or whatever. Just my mind will not allow me to do it. But it did remind me too of the DC versus Marvel thing that happened in the 90s. And these sort of mashups are like a pop culture geek's dream, right? You know, WCW versus WWF and Battle of the Network Stars and Coke versus Pepsi, and DC versus Marvel was the two giants getting together, right? So who would win in a fight between Batman and Captain America and Superman and the Hulk? And wouldn't you know it, they just fucked it up so badly. Like, they had all these low stakes fights with cosmic beings betting between them, and it ended, I think, in a tie, or, you know, it got like snapped out of existence, like in the Avengers. Anyway, so the output of this was this 2-year run where Marvel and DC basically smashed characters together to put out these new series or one-offs or whatever. But they did so in the least inspired way you can ever imagine. So you get characters like Dark Claw, who is a mix-up of Batman and Wolverine, and his name is Logan Wayne, which is just so, just absolutely horrific. And then you get the mix of Solomon Grundy and the Hulk, so two big old bastards. And it's still Bruce Banner, but he's named Skulk. And then you get the Riddler and the Kingpin, and they make Big Question. So just this epic fuck up. Like, I feel like anytime you get these two big companies together, nobody can lose. You know, it's like the Fast and the Furious guys, that they can't lose fights or it all has to be 50-50. So you just get these abominations. Everything flamed out, but now my interest is piqued, and I want to see if I can find these comics and read them. Maybe they don't suck as bad as I remember, but they probably do. Speaking of things that sucked real bad, thanks again to Kendall for coming on our Ewoks episode. We had a real treat walking through that shithole. And now Dave is back from his walkabout, and we are visiting another bastion of pop culture, and that is James Bond Jr.
Bond. James Bond Jr. No one can stop him, but scum always tries. Young Bond cuts through each web of spies. He learned the game from his Uncle James. Now he's heir to the name. James Bond. James Bond Jr. Look out, he's coming through. He's got a job to do while he rescues the girl. James Bond Jr. chases scum around the world.
James Bond is aggressive womanizing and violence and gadgets and sexy double entendres. And James Bond Jr. delivers roughly one of those. But it's a show that had adults that now stars kids. So you can guess where that came from. So we'll be grilling Dave on that one for sure. The episode that we are watching is called The Beginning. And as you might guess, it's the first episode. And let me tell you, it doesn't explain a hell of a lot. I've got a lot of questions about this, but it should be fun. Lots of fun. And as always, we want to hear from you. Email at watchbotspod.com, Twitter at watchbotspod, whatever you want. It can be spam. I don't really care. I check those accounts. But I think that'll do it for today. So this has been signing off. We will talk with you next week. Stay cool, stay dry, and I hope all your martinis are shaken or stirred. Whatever your preference. I guess I don't know what the difference is. I don't like martinis. Too salty. Bye.